Ready to make a real impact every day? Join the Active Day Home Care team and help clients maintain their independence in the comfort of their own homes. Make a difference in someone's life as you provide essential daily assistance and protect their health and happiness. Earn up to $20 an hour and enjoy additional perks like optional daily pay, 401k, paid time off, ongoing educational training, and more. Join a team that values care, compassion, and your professional growth. Visit ActiveDay.com to apply.
Hello and welcome to jasonnewland.com. My name is Jason Newland. Hello. Hello. How are you? Good. It's hot. It's so hot in here. Today is the 25th of June 2025 and it is 6:34 p.m. So please only listen when you can safely close your eyes. Oh, I'm tired. Very tired. Ooh. So, what's going on there? Why is that not giving me analytics? That's strange. It's very strange. What's going on? Podcasts. So I've got multiple podcasts. Why is it not giving me analytics? So I'm just looking at the analytics. Get insights about your website. Visit my stats. Okay, it's not giving me any at the moment. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. When I got my website back, the person who runs the podcast, or I don't know, they were telling me off. You can't keep stopping. You can't keep deleting it because otherwise, I can't keep. There's a lot of work to get it back. It's like, okay, you need to join an annual. I said, I can't afford anal. I said, well, you have to pay for anal because it's basically, we need to know that you're going to stay for the full year. And I said, well, I can't do that. I can only do monthly. And in the end, he said, oh, okay then. Monthly it is. So that was alright. I'm going to go onto Facebook because I had a few comments. I'm going to read out some of the messages that I've had on Facebook. My back is hurting. I think with all the car journeys and the bus journeys, there's a lot of jolting around on the roads. They're not very smooth, a lot of them. I've noticed that's kind of jolted my back quite a lot, and I'm not used to it. So I'm not sure what other reasons, I don't know what they are for my back. So let's have a look. I did do a recording. Actually, I did a recording, according to this, I did a recording on Saturday as well, which I don't remember doing. And it was a deep sleep whisper hypnosis recording, which I did on the 22nd of June, which was indeed Sunday. 22nd of June was Sunday. Right, so I did it. I don't remember doing a recording on Sunday. How did I manage to do that? Weird, strange. So technically, this is the third one of the week. So I did do one Sunday, did one Monday. No, I didn't do one Monday. I did one yesterday, which was Tuesday. And it's kind of strange. It's all been a bit weird. It's just been weird. It's been a weird week. Weird. If you want to know more about that, then I suggest you listen to yesterday's recording to save me going through it again and boring those that already have ingested the boringness of yesterday's recording. Just to say that I've been visiting a neighbour in hospital, and that would be, that's kind of been the whole week so far. So Friday night, and then Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So 6 days in a row I've been going up and back and forward to the hospital. So it's 12 journeys, or 13, 14, 15 maybe if you include the buses. 16, 17, 18 journeys, because the buses, it's 2 journeys to get here. But I genuinely cannot remember which days I got a taxi, which days I got a bus, which days I got a lift from a neighbour, paid them £10 to take me. It's a bit of a blur. Today I got a taxi there and back, because it took me 2 hours to get home last night, or yesterday afternoon, on the bus, or two different buses, with the walking, the waiting, and the journeys. It's a 2-hour journey, and I just think of little Vinny waiting here for me, because he doesn't eat his dinner. He just like lays here pining for me, I imagine. He doesn't like it when I go out. Really doesn't like it when I go out. Really doesn't like it. And what I found there, that's weird. I've got breakfast cereal in the middle of the settee buttocks. You know, in between the 2 buttocks of the settee. The crease. I'm just going to try and remember what happened today. Last night was weird. Okay, this is very strange. Vinny, so I had a sleep in the afternoon, like I just did just now as well. So I had probably about an hour and a half sleep. Vinny started barking, someone in the garden. So what I did is I went to bed. It wasn't an early night last night, funny enough. Probably about 11, maybe half 11 even. Because I did the recording, which was an hour and 40 minutes before going to bed. And yeah, it's just the way it went, I guess, because my sleeping's a little bit out. Because really, ever since Friday, because normally I go to bed about 10 o'clock, sometimes 11, sometimes 9. You know, on a weekend, if it's boxing on, I go to bed after the boxing finishes, and sometimes that can be like half 11, 12, but generally, and it's not because I have to, I don't go to bed at 10 because that's my bedtime and I get in trouble if I don't. I don't have anyone coming in checking that my eyes are closed. It's nothing. That would be really weird, wouldn't it? Especially as I live alone. So I choose to do that, and that's kind of been my routine for the last couple of years, really. So on Friday I was up till... I was at the hospital till about 3:30 in the morning. I'd already gone to bed at 10, and kind of, that didn't work out. So I ended up in the hospital with my neighbour, and then I got home probably just after 4. It was quite a quick journey because there was no traffic on the roads really. But although I was tired, I was too awake to go to sleep. And I was also really hungry because I hadn't eaten since probably 6 o'clock in the evening. So I had some breakfast cereal, which is all I needed really, just a little bit of food. So I didn't go to bed hungry. And I eventually went to sleep. I fell asleep in the chair here. Woke up about 8. 9, no, about 8 o'clock, yeah. And then I went, Saturday I just started again. I think I left at 11 or midday Saturday to go to the hospital, and I've been back and forward every day. But I don't seem to have caught up my sleep, which is probably a bit weird, but I kind of don't, yeah, kind of a bit. I mean, there isn't that old theory that you never catch up on your sleep. I don't know. But last night, I went to bed a bit later than I normally do, which was fine because I'd had a sleep in the afternoon. Usually, this is going to sound weird, I quite often have an afternoon nap in my normal day-to-day. But I haven't had that, for the last week. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a neutral thing. I don't know. It just hasn't happened. So I'd like a late or early evening nap instead. Last night, Vinny would not get on the bed with me. He refused to get on the bed. And I didn't really understand why. He just wouldn't. Like, he refused point blank to get on the bed with me. So I took him, I think, and then he did get on eventually. Eventually he did, but he was being really weird about it. And then at 2 o'clock this morning, he was on the floor, looking up at me from the floor, and I don't know, I guess he must have been making some noise or scratching at the bed or something to wake me up. And I said, "What is it, Lassie?" And nothing. So, Lassie's such a ridiculous TV show. If anyone ever watched it, dogs communicating and letting you know. If Lassie was a Jack Russell like Vinny, that show would last for 5 minutes, and in the end, that'd be it. It'd just be like, "What is it? What is it? Oh, you want a treat? Okay, that's it." And he just jumped up when I said that. So about 2 o'clock, I don't know what's going on. So I give him some food. I thought maybe he's hungry. He eats the food, and I go and lay down again. And he's still standing there, or sitting down, staring at me. Now, I don't have any treats, run out of treats for him. I've still got these little bony things that he can chew on, but I've got no treats. He's got through them. I haven't been able to do any shopping this week yet. Got some milk from the hospital. That's kind of all I've got. Been trying to eat when I've been out. I'm going to have crumpets for my dinner tonight. So that's good. I got them from the hospital as well. And I can't believe the restaurant's closed. I was going to have a meal, because when my neighbour's having his meal, I go and get something to eat. And so far it's just been Costa's, like a toasted sandwich thing, a toasty or whatever they call them. But I thought, I'll try out the restaurant, because it was closed at the weekend. I'll try that out. And I went along, and turns out it's been refurbished. So it's just not open for anyone, including the staff. I think the staff are taking sandwiches in. Or I did see a lot of the nurses and doctors in Costa's. So I imagine they're getting quite a good amount of money coming in. I hope that they get a discount. I really do. In fact, without getting political, nurses, doctors, they shouldn't pay a damn thing. Anyone that works in a hospital should get free food. All school kids and teachers should get free food. I want to go even further. Everyone should get free food. Okay, I'm now back. So I've got some messages to read out. Okay, so I'm going to do that in a minute. I just didn't know what to do. I didn't know what is it? What is it, Vinny? What is it? Couldn't really figure it out. it was bugging me. But he wasn't being obvious of what he wanted. He wasn't running towards the front door. He wasn't looking at the kitchen door. He wasn't, he wasn't doing anything particular. So in the end, I thought, well, maybe he needs a wee-wee. Or something else, So I'll take him outside into the garden. For some reason, it wasn't really that dark out there. I mean, it's normally dark at 2 o'clock in the morning, but it was relatively light. So I went out there. He does go for a wee, but that's not what he wanted. And he kept looking at the doorway of the other building. And I don't really know why. I'm just like, why? 2 o'clock in the morning. And then I dropped the hand, the handle for the lead, because I have to have him on a lead when he's in the garden. Otherwise, he'll just run off. I dropped the lead on the floor, and it made a big old bang. Like, bang. Actually, it was less of a bang, more of a splat or clap. Plastic on concrete. A bit like, I imagine, Pamela Anderson doing some breakdancing. Anyway, so that's quite a really old reference, isn't it? Really, that's like a 90s reference. I mean, both of them are kind of 19. I mean, breakdance is more 1980s, isn't it? I love breakdancing. The movie Breakdancing, or is it Breakdancing or Breakdancer? It was one of the best movies ever at the time. And when do you see it ever played? Not in this country. I don't think I've ever seen it on TV. It's like a forgotten movie. And it was absolutely brilliant. It was uplifting. And the dance techniques were phenomenal. It was new, I know it wasn't new. I suppose anything that goes into a cinema would have probably been around for years. But I've seen footage of Michael Jackson doing the robot walk in the 70s, like in sort of 75, 76. So it wasn't a new thing. But it was amazing. And there's a couple of those movies that were really good. Now, so I've realised a few things over the years. I've learned a few things. First of all, I can't listen to someone like me. My neighbour is kind of a little bit like me, but when it comes to sport, he will talk about sport. Sport or politics. That's his thing. And he can talk about it. I think he could do 12 hours straight, and he'd just keep talking. And he's very passionate. He's very, he's excited. He gets excited, and he just loves talking about stuff. And I struggle because I'm not interested. If there's a subject I'm not interested in, my eyes do glaze over, and I can't listen. Now, it took me many years to realise that people's eyes were glazing over when I was talking, because not so much now. I suppose ever since I learned to be a counsellor, I kind of learned a bit more communication skills, human communication skills, and also when I was a when I was a salesperson on the phones, working in a call centre. So it's a conversation. So I had 20 years of learning to do that stuff. 25 years of learning to do that stuff, I guess. No, 20 years, 10 years, I don't know, however many years. But my favourite is probably just a monologue where I just talk at people. But I know I can't do that, apart from when I do these recordings. And I learned years ago, like, I remember seeing people's eyes glaze over. I didn't know I was doing it, and I didn't notice the glazing of their eyes until I started learning about hypnosis. And at that time I started playing around with it, because I'd moved from what I was talking about to something completely different, and they didn't even notice. That's when I realised that I was naturally a hypnotist. Like my natural, I was hypnotising people without even realising. Okay, maybe not hypnotising, putting them into a trance without realising I was doing it. Making them focus and then almost drift, not really be there. Be there but not be there is kind of a weird one. And so what I started doing is playing with it. Sometimes, I have to have a drink. Sometimes, and this was in the late 90s, okay. When I was in full hypnotic mode, I would start talking to someone, and I would just lead, and I'd just keep talking. And they'd just look at me, and I'd just keep talking. And they just keep talking, and see how long I could talk complete nonsense before they realised I was just talking complete nonsense. And sometimes I could go on for like 10 minutes, and I'd ask them a question, and they'd be like, huh? And they'd gone. They'd been somewhere else. They weren't there. And I used to play with that just because, for fun. I wasn't doing it in a harmful way. I wasn't giving them suggestions or anything. I was just distracting them, and then started talking about lawnmowers and gremlins and pizza, and just things that had nothing to do with why we were actually having a conversation. And I was like, wow. I mean, technically, I could have started these podcasts in the late 90s. I could have started Let Me Bore You to Sleep in 1999, 98, 99, which would make me one of the longest podcasts of all time. But I didn't. I mean, podcasts I don't think were even really around then, but I could have made audios. There were ways of listening to audio online back then. So yeah, it's too late now, but it's too late now. I can't go back and start it earlier. I mean, it's the old saying, isn't it? When's the best time to start something? Now. There's never a good time. The best time is now. I thought, don't ever wait. So you can wait and wait and wait. I used to know someone like that. It was always, I'm going to do this when this happens. And then you end up still haven't done it 30 years later. And I've been like that many times over the years. And I probably still will be. I'm a bit like that with vacuuming the carpet. I was going to say, I'm going to do it next week. Well, I'm going to do it in the next 2 weeks. It started off, I'm going to do it this afternoon. Then, no, I'm going to do it tomorrow. I'll do it before Saturday. Or I'll do it next week. Or do it over the weekend. I'll do it next week. And now I'm kind of like, I'm gonna vacuum before I'm 60. Kind of the deadline's kind of extended somewhat. Now, I'm going to read these messages out because there was a point to what I was saying and I've forgotten what it is. Here's one message from yesterday. Sebastian, believe it or not, left another weird message. So let's have a look. What did Sebastian write? Stop producing when you're feeling unwell. You owe me sex, but not daily recordings. No need to risk a blip. You did well with helping your neighbour. I just put question marks to answer that one. The thing is, it's I'd rather make a recording. I can still talk boringly. I mean, think about it. How often do I actually, if you can hear that dog in the background, how often do I actually do anything? I rarely leave the flat. I don't really go out and do much, so this is giving me stuff to talk about. So it's kind of, you know, from that sense, I know it's kind of a weird subject, hospitals and stuff, and who wants to hear about hospitals? But I'm not going to go into detail about anything about a hospital. It's just somewhere that I'm actually visiting at the moment. So, you know, I understand kind of where Sebastian is coming from, but yeah, so part of that was nice, but yeah, like, I owe him what? Zoe writes what to Sebastian and to me, are these additional services now being offered? To you they are, but not to him. To Zoe, yes, but to Sebastian, no. Definitely not. And then Sebastian decided that the picture looked like Harvey Keitel on my image. Christine says, it was really interesting and could understand your situation, and now I know what to do if I was in your position. You are an amazing neighbour and friend, a good person. We could do with more kind, caring people like you. You'll be exhausted after all that. Thank you for sharing the story, and I wish your friend well. Thank you, Christine. Yeah, it has been exhausting. I think weird today, he was being awkward today. He was being a little bit aggressive verbally. Not, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but he was getting a little bit antsy. Is that a word? Antsy, a little bit argumentative. So I don't really know what was going on with him. Well, I can guess, you know, what's going on. I know what's going on with him, but I can guess that he just I don't know. It was a weird one because he seems to be a little bit different each day. He's very calm, very softly spoken, but then when he gets going, he kind of started getting a bit angry, like expressive, yeah. Maybe not towards me, a little bit towards me, but towards what he was talking about, and like complaining about something. It's like, okay, it's like maybe a different side to him that I've not really seen much of, perhaps. So yeah, it was a bit weird. I mean, I kind of, at one point he was saying, will you go and get back to Vinny? I think he was almost trying to kick me out. I think I'd annoyed him at some point. I'd said something that must have annoyed him. So I think he might be thinking that I'm the one that was being annoying, and I'm thinking that he was the one being annoying. I don't know. There was one point when we walked through the hospital, because I take him out every day, and I don't think I'm not sure if he really appreciates going out, but all the other people in his ward are not allowed out. He's allowed out because he's got his mobility, and he's got me, and I can't take him, and he's not it's weird, but he's not walking the way he used to walk. He's getting on a bit, but he's been walking to the petrol station every day since I've known him, and now I see he's walking like one foot in front of the other, very slowly, and almost holding on to me at times. But he's physically fine, he says, so I'm kind of a little bit confused. But So we're walking really slowly through the hospital. It reminded me a little bit about when my nan had, I was going to say when she had her hip, but she always had two hips. But when she'd damaged her hip, and he tripped up on some lino that was sticking up, which was in the middle of a doorway, which is quite close to the exit and the entrance. And some people on the left-hand side, I don't know what they were doing, but they laughed. He didn't fall over, because I grabbed him, but he didn't fall over anyway, because he kind of got his foot in. And the thing is, the people that laughed might have just been laughing anyway. They might have just been in the middle of a conversation. So I had to blank that out. My natural reaction is to possibly say something, so I was like, no. So I turned to the reception, because there's literally a help desk right next to where he tripped. And I said to him that there's a bit of lino sticking up off the floor, and he tripped. Luckily didn't fall over, but that's an accident waiting to happen. And a lady behind the counter said, okay, I'll get the whatever to fix it. Still wasn't fixed when I left. I mean, it was only like an hour, 2 hours later, or an hour and a half that I left later. But it's like, that's a health and safety issue. It needs to be done quickly, because thousands of people are walking through there every day. Thousands and thousands. But it was weird, because even though he's only, I mean, he's very light, I imagine, compared to me. He can't weigh very much. Even then, if someone falls, it's hard to stop them from falling, isn't it? I'll stop him, even if it means he lands on me, I will stop him from falling. But at the same time, I don't want him to get hurt. And it was weird, because putting his arm out to just generally as we're walking, sort of almost like to keep his balance. I'm just a little bit confused with the whole thing, because I've never seen him do that before. So we're outside, and we've been out every day. I took him outside, and a lot of people don't get to go out in the sun. They're kind of stuck inside the ward, and all the people in his ward they haven't been able to leave for days, some of them. One's waiting to go home, I think, soon, and he spent 6 days without going outside until his daughter came and took him out. So I think it's good to take him out, but then he kind of doesn't want to go out. It's almost like, let's go for a little walk, go into because there's seats, lots of seating outside. And it's a lovely day. It's been nice every day this week. Even when it was windy and cloudy, it was still nice. It was still a nice temperature. But he's gone like, okay, just wait, it's fine. So I don't know if he's struggling with the walking and just not mentioning it. I don't know, really. I don't know. I'm turning into a fusspot. Now, I was a fusspot with Luke, and he got annoyed with me. But I haven't needed to be a fusspot since that time. And over the last 6 months, I've turned into a bit of a fusspot with my neighbour that's in hospital, just with helping him with his bills, helping him with just finding out stuff that he's ignored, and trying to help him to get it sorted. But over the last month, I haven't needed to really do anything. Or maybe the last 2 months even, because he's just been happily doing his thing. I see him when I see him. Usually see him a couple of times a week, maybe 3 times a week. He asks me if he needs me to do something, I'll do it. And really, the only reason he contacted me, I must see him fairly regularly, but he contacted me to, because he phones me like once, twice a week, even though I'm just opposite, but if he wants to just talk about sport or something, and that's when I don't answer the phone. That's terrible. But he needed my help with some stuff regarding the bathroom being done. So I said I was going to help him. Just he wanted to get the flat prepared before the builders came in and stuff like that. And we were going to try and talk to an electrician to try and disconnect his cooker, and maybe also see if we can get someone, the plumber, to connect his washing machine. Neither of those things have happened, to be fair, because other things have come up. But now, the last week, I seem to be. I'm not seeming to be a fusspot. I have been a fusspot, and I know it, and I know it's annoying because I wouldn't like someone doing it to me. I don't know why I'm like that. It's almost like I'm concerned, and I can't hide being concerned, and I can't hide caring and wanting him to be okay and making sure that he's okay, knowing that he wouldn't tell me if he wasn't. That's the thing. And I think in the process I'm annoying him. I did the same with my friend Luke downstairs. I used to annoy the hell out of him sometimes. It's one of those things. I mean, when I left today, I left at 2, and I didn't want to go back, like, ever again. I was going to go back, but I told him I'm not coming back tomorrow. So I haven't been able to do my shopping. I haven't really been able to do much here. I need to get I managed to do some washing the other day, some laundry. But yeah, I thought tomorrow's Thursday, and I can get a few bits done here, and just have a day off. To be fair, just have a lie in. Not have to do anything. And then my different neighbour called up about an hour ago saying, do I want a lift tomorrow? So I asked her, I give her £10 to take me when she can. She should take me once. And it's really, she'll offer when she's going out herself. So she's not going there specifically for me, but if she's going anywhere near there, to the hospital, she'll give me a lift. And she called me up and said, I can take you tomorrow morning. And so I thought, well, okay, I'll do that. And I called up my neighbour, I'm trying not to say his name, my neighbour opposite me, who's in hospital. I called him up just to see, have you had any other, just like, oh, by the way, I'm coming tomorrow. He said, really? So he seemed like he was quite pleased that I was coming, which is weird because he seemed really pleased that I was leaving today earlier. It's just weird. I think I'm just annoying him, I think. So he's still got a bit of resentment, I think, towards me because he wouldn't be in there if it wasn't for me. And even though he needs to be in there, I know some people would argue the other way, but generally, if he had jaundice, he needed to be in hospital. He needed treatment for jaundice. He wouldn't have got any if I hadn't called the paramedics. Even if he could get treated at home, I'm not sure if jaundice goes away on its own, to be fair. I don't know enough about it, but I do know that it's basically it's serious. So I think he holds that resentment because of this whole thing has turned his life upside down, not just temporarily. So he's got that. Yeah, I think he'd quite like to punch me. I think there's that. I think he's probably happy that I'm there, and that he's got a neighbour that cares and whatever. I guess partly, I'm guessing that might be in his mind, but also that like part of him thinking, ew, you know. I'm not sure if he makes that sound in his brain, but that is part of him. I think that just. I've asked him it. I'm quite blatant. I do ask people stuff. I said, like today, I said, "You're angry today. You're angry with me, aren't you?" And he was just, because he started talking about politics. And I said, and he was really stuck on this particular story. And he carried it on all the way from when we was outside to when we got back inside and he was eating his dinner. And then after he's eating his dinner, he's still talking about it to the neighbour, his neighbour in the bed next to him. And I'm not sure if the neighbour next to him even knew what he was talking about, because he doesn't introduce a subject. Again, like me, this is kind of, if I started talking about working in the meter factory where we used to make meters, it's a bit like that. It's like I'm talking about a hospital, and then now I'm talking about making the boxes, and you're going to think, well, am I still talking about a hospital? Because what boxes would you make in a hospital? And it's hard to follow sometimes, but I don't just sit there passively and listen, because it is a conversation, because the person's there with me, and I question, like, what you. Perhaps I should be. I don't know. I just say, what you're talking about, like, not in a horrible way, but like, what. I don't say, what are you talking about now? What on earth are you going on about now? I don't do that, but I do say, what? What are you what? What? Wait, what? What are you what? And at one point he said, I asked him something. I don't know if I was talking about the lunch that he just had. And he said, are you, or some question or whatever. And he said, are you trying to distract me from what I'm talking about? Because I've been doing that lately. I'm quite good at distracting people to bring them back to a different subject. Not, I suppose it is, maybe it's a little bit controlling. I don't mean it in a controlling way, but it's a way, there's a certain skill that I learned as a counsellor and in the hypnosis sort of therapeutic manner, is when someone goes off track, and sometimes that can be really useful, other times not so much. So bringing it back to the reason they're there. So if someone's coming because, let's say someone's coming because of maybe exam, when I was, got exam anxiety or something like that, and they'd be coming for counselling because they were just struggling with that stuff, or something similar, I don't know. And then they'd be talking about spaceships and these were like, I'm talking about adult people, not like little kids. Although I used to counsel kids as well. But sometimes you have to kind of bring it back to what the focus is, because in counselling there is I don't know what the correct term it is, where people, maybe not purposely, maybe not like consciously, move to a different subject to avoid. I guess it's avoidance, isn't it? I suppose that's probably the word, isn't it? What's it called when they avoid things? Oh, avoidance. So it's kind of something as a therapist, I think it can be useful to kind of bring them back, to notice that. Maybe to even mention it as well. I noticed you've come here because you had an issue with, when you had that holiday and things didn't go quite well. But I'm wondering what's that's got to do with that Lego set that you had when you were 9. It might have something to do with it. It may well do. It might be an analogy for their experience. So I used to here's what I used to do when I was a counsellor. I used to be real. I don't understand people. I don't pretend that I understand people. So I ask. So the only way I can understand someone is by asking them questions, spending time with them, and genuinely asking them what's going on in your mind. I can't mind read. I don't pretend to be able to mind read. I don't know what someone's thinking by their facial expressions. I can kind of guess, but I will ask. But even then, I still don't know if it's true, because sometimes people don't even seem to know themselves what they're thinking or what they're feeling. So that was the way I kind of approached counselling. I didn't go. I had the knowledge, I studied, I had a degree, and I had a lot of background in studying for fun, psychology and stuff like that, and also the hypnosis background. And a lot of that is based in psychology and therapy. But I didn't go into the session thinking I was an expert on the human condition. I never had that. I didn't even, for me, it wasn't about other people. It was just about that one person. It wasn't about would the way that they were acting, was it fitting in with a specific behavioural criteria, that fits in, that's kind of explains the actions. Like, okay, they're doing this, doing that, therefore they are this. Because other people that do that are this. I just take them as they were. I wasn't there to diagnose. I'm not a doctor. Not yet, anyway. Ooh. Anyway, but that was a distraction itself, wasn't it? I'm talking about distractions, and then avoidance. So my neighbour in the hospital, he said, "Oh, you're trying to distract me from talking about that thing." But he told a story 3 times, so at this point, kind of to 3 different people, and I was saying, no, I'm just trying to get you to focus on now, and how you are, which is the reason I'm visiting you. And that didn't go down very well. I mean, perhaps I didn't mean it harshly. It's the truth. I'm visiting him because of, I want to know how he is. I want to know what he's feeling. And technically, it's none of my business how he is or how he's feeling. So I can see that side as well. But earlier in the week, he was opening up. And he's sort of closed down again. It's weird. I don't know. My counselling skills are probably pretty much disappeared because I haven't been a counsellor for a long time. But I can listen if someone's talking about something real. I find it. See, I don't get bored with real stuff. like a real conversation about real things, you know, feelings, and how do I feel about this, and opinions, less interested in that. Because he did say something about, oh, do you feel educated now? Because he was talking about politics. I said, what do you mean? He said, you learned something new, haven't you? I said, well, I've learned what your opinion is on that subject. That's probably stuff that annoyed him, actually. I said, it's just opinions. It's not a fact. These aren't facts. It's just what you believe. You're on one side of the fence. You believe this about your political party, and it's really just, that's an opinion. And he was, because he's got a degree in politics, he's like, no, it's not an agreement. It's not just an opinion. It's, and he was saying, I can teach you about politics. I said, well, I've got my own interests. Besides, I do know a little bit about politics. I do, you know, I'm not completely oblivious to what's going on in politics. I go through periods when I'm really interested in it, and then I'm not. But we were talking about how one political party always goes on about the other political party and what they did last time they was in power, and how everything's their fault that the place is like it is now. And I just said to him, that's human. They're tapping into the human nature. It's human nature to blame others, to want to blame other people. It's just a natural human instinct. So the politicians are just tapping into that. I don't know if it's a natural human instinct all around the world, but I'm pretty safe to say, I feel safe to say it's a national pastime. It seems to be a natural instinct in this country I'm not saying everyone does it, and everyone does it all the time, but in a kind of majority way, it seems to be. I love blaming other people. I try not to, but it's just, or blaming the weather, or blaming, that just seems to be almost like inherited when you're born in this country. I mean, it might be, I'm guessing it's not an English thing. I'm pretty sure it's a worldwide thing. Anyway, I annoyed him. That's what I was just trying to say. And Zoe called me. So I've got no idea what I was really saying there, to be honest. Oh yeah. So I saw, just now, before I started doing this, I had to go round, and I saw my neighbour to discuss her giving me a lift. And then I saw Archie's mum. And I haven't seen her all week. I told her about the situation, and she offered for Vinny to stay there tomorrow, because she's got a day off. So she said they could, Archie could be where, because there's two dogs, there's Archie and another dog that's there, and Vinny, he likes both of them. He loves Archie, but they've got a garden, or she's got a garden, so she said that you can bring him round and he can stay here. So what I did is I said, well, brilliant. So instead of him being on his own, so I'm going to take him round at 10 o'clock tomorrow, and she lives opposite the person that's going to give me a lift. And then I'll try and get back. I think I'm going to get back by 2. So I won't be able to spend a huge amount of time at the hospital, because hopefully I'll get there by 11, and I might have to leave at 1. But it's still 2 hours is better than no hours, isn't it? But it's still, that's like 4 hours of the neighbour looking after him, after looking after Vinny, and he's never been to her house. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to give her my key to my flat, and she knows where I live, so I'll just say, look, if he's being an absolute, I don't know, if he's being really, really naughty, then you're welcome just to bring him back and just stick him in the flat. You know, that's fine. Because who knows, he's never ever, since I've had him, he's never stayed around a stranger's house before. I mean, this person's not a stranger in as such as I've seen her for the last two and a half years walking Vinny. So, but he's never been. There's a video of him and Archie on YouTube, but they've never actually. He's never stayed over, and he's not stayed with anyone other than his former mum, like that he used to live with. He stayed with her a few times. So this is different. So I don't know if he's going to behave. I don't know if he's going to be a good boy. I hope he will be. I think he'll love it. Personally, I think he'll absolutely love it. But then there's one thing walking and playing around and stuff with Archie, but there's another thing. Will he try and take control of being in the garden? Will he be naughty? Will he try and escape from the garden? That's the thing. And if he does, I'm not going to be around to look for him. I hope that he behaves. But you know what? This is going to be good for him, because he hasn't had a chance to run around with any dogs off the lead since September, really. And it's now June. So, and they've got a big garden, so for him to run around, actually that's not true, he did run around another neighbour's house who's got a dog, but that was a few Sundays ago. That was very brief though, and he did run out the front door, so that wasn't so good. So I'll make sure, I'll just let her know, don't open the front door, because he will try and escape. He's so naughty. And because he knows where we are, he might try and run home thinking I'm there. Although I don't think he would. But I kind of think of it, if you toss it up in a sense of, if I take him to the garden, I take him to the neighbours to play in the garden, it's like a 99% positive thing, possibly 100% positive thing, because he's getting to do what he wants to do, which is run around with his friend, his best friend. Archie and Noodles, they're his two best friends, and he can't run around with either of them anymore off the lead. Noodles is a dog that he got into trouble with at the same time, and they're very naughty when they get together. They kind of lead each other astray a little bit. Archie, less so, but still, there's been a few dogs that if they run out of the park, Vinny will just follow. So there's that thing, you know. It's happened a few times over the years. I should have learned from it, really, but I so wanted him to be able to have that freedom. And he's so happy. I can see how happy he is when he's running around with his doggy friends. And he's got a few dog friends that he really likes. But I think Archie and Noodles, they're like at the top of the pack, because they're both little, and they've both got the same kind of energy as him, and about the same age really as well. So yeah, they've got a definite bond, like instant bond they had. And they've known each other for a couple of years. I don't know how. Yeah, probably a couple of years, both of them actually. Noodles and Archie. I think Archie was first. I'll tell you something about Archie. This is weird. Archie's a proper fascist. No, he's not. Archie, he's got questionable political... No, he hasn't. I don't want him saying that. He doesn't collect stamps either. Archie, I used to see... So I'd see Archie in the evening, like 6, I don't know, whatever time that his mum would be walking him with the 2 dogs. And once I said to this lady, the neighbour, I said, you know what? He's got another friend that looks just like Archie. And they don't run around because he was always on the lead, but we see him during the day. This is for about a year, and I was saying to her, no, he's got another friend. And after, I don't know if it's a year, maybe nearly a year, it turned out it was the same dog. And it was different because it was her mum was taking the dog out, or taking Archie out during the day. And I said to her, and we were talking, I said, you know what? He's got a friend just like that one. Because I didn't see her that often. I saw the other one in the evenings fairly regular. The one during the day I didn't see very often. And she said, this is Archie. I said, I can't believe you've got 2 dogs with the same name, the same kind of dogs. And she said, oh, okay. And then I said goodbye to her. Then I said the same thing to the lady in the evening. I said, there's another woman. You know, I told you that other woman has got a dog that's just like Archie. His name's also Archie. And she looked at me like, I think she must have thought I was a bit dim. Or I was like joking around or something. And she said, really? I said, yeah. It's the same. She still mentions it now. Like, how can you not know that it was the same dog for a year? Vinny was playing with the same dog. The same name for a year. 2 different dogs, but it was one dog. There's so many names. I don't keep track. But it's only Archie in the evening Archie. I know both of them were Archie. But the afternoon Archie never used to run around with Vinny. He was always on the lead. But evening Archie used to run around. So I kind of learnt his name a bit. It's weird. Right. I am going to do a Q&A Friday this week. Now, whether I do it Friday or I do it Saturday, I know I'm definitely not going to. I'm not going to the hospital on Sunday because the buses are just ridiculous. They're like every 2 hours, if at all. So I'm not travelling on Sunday. So I won't be going there on a Sunday. I'm there tomorrow. What I might do is maybe take Friday off, or go Friday and have the weekend off. And if his other friend, because he's got someone else visiting him now, is going to go and see him at the weekend, then that can kind of do that. I really don't know. I'll play it by ear or by eye or by foot or whatever. I'll just see what happens, you know. But I'm going to do a Q&A Friday this week. Oh, wow. So, I did post a recording 2 days ago. Hi all, I might not be able to make a recording this week because I'm back and forward to a hospital. So I posted that. I have had some comments, but I didn't have time to really reply to them. So I'm going to reply to them now. I'm going to read them out and I'm going to reply to them now. Unfortunately, some people listening to this might have just fallen asleep through boredom, which is a bit rude. But hey, Christine writes, hope you and your neighbour feel a bit better soon. We'll all be here when you feel well enough. Take care and thank you for taking the time to let us know. So thank you, Christine. I after the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, by the end of Monday, I really I didn't think I'd be making any recordings. But then yesterday, for some reason, I just felt okay to do one. So I'm just gonna... it really is time to go to sleep soon. I don't know what time it is. It's probably about 7 o'clock. Okay, it's 20 to 8. Hope wrote, take care of you. I hope your neighbour gets better soon. Thank you. Thank you, Hope. So I'm going to put a love heart there as well. Just so... Why is it not allowing me to look up the... That's weird. Oh, there it is. Go. Maria writes, take care of yourself, Jason. I hope your neighbour makes a full recovery soon. Thanks for letting us know. Thank you, Maria. Why is this not working? Okay, there we go. I just want you to know that I have read your messages. I just haven't... I was reading them in the hospital, actually. Tammy writes, wish her well for me. What does that say? Wish her well for me. Email going out for health and safety. Okay. I'm not sure what that means. I think my brain's going a little bit slow today. Sorry, but thanks for your message. I'm not. Email going out for health and safety. That probably makes sense, but it's not. My brain, honestly, I'm not on full capacity at the moment. But saying that, I'm not sure if I've ever been on full capacity. Jackie writes, yeah, I can imagine, knackering indeed, but you know something you have to do. Good on you, mate. Don't stress in your own time. Best wishes to your neighbour. Thank you, Jackie. Yeah. Yeah, it's been knackering. I think part of it is because I'm just not used to being around people, and I'm seeing more people in a day now than I would do for a whole year. Way more. Yeah, more than I would do in a whole year, because there's literally thousands upon thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people that I'm seeing outside the hospital, inside the hospital, walking through the wards. It's just thousands of people. So it's a little bit overload, I think, which is okay. I know what it is. Yeah, it's all right. It's just, it is what it is. Ing says, best wishes to your neighbour. Take care of yourself and take a break for as long as you need. So thank you. It's one of those situations I'm going to, while he's in there, I'm going to make recordings when I can. And I'm not going to push myself to do anything, really. But it's just I'll do them when I feel up to it. And it's just tiredness. That's all it is, really. It's not anything else. Well, maybe a little bit more, but, it's just mainly tiredness. So, it's disrupted my routine. But you know what? It's disrupted his routine as well. And so my routine is not really that important right now. So it's okay. As long as I don't want to go like long periods of time without making a recording, because as it is, if I go, well, I'll tell you actually, I'll come back to this in a minute. Here's how the stats go, okay? So what is it now? It's Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday, Sunday, Saturday, Friday. Okay, so Thursday, 2,136. No, 2,153 downloads. Friday, 1,795 downloads. Friday, 704 downloads. Saturday, 541 downloads. Sunday, 350 downloads. That's not right. Wednesday. So I've got 550 today so far, but 227 yesterday. 227 is the amount I'd be getting. I mean, that'd be bad 10 years ago in a day. 220, that's like one of the worst days I could ever have, because I've not been making new recordings. So Monday, 350 listens. These downloads are listens, so 300 is ridiculously low, really low. So Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday, Sunday, 541, Saturday, 704. It's just gone down. I mean, today I did do a recording this morning, well, last night, and I uploaded it this morning. So it's a rise, but it's still a small amount, which is kind of weird. How, I mean, yeah, I was making like 2+ recordings a day last week, or the week before, I can't remember. But the weird thing about it is, it's a little bit like sales. You're only as good as your last sale. Or in sports, you're only as good as your last football game, or you are, it's only as good as your last performance, which is, come on, get up, which seems a bit harsh. But it seems that with podcasting, as soon as I stop making recordings, people stop listening. Not completely, but I don't like seeing, like yesterday, 227 downloads. So that's 227 plays. I mean, admittedly, a lot of those would be 10-hour recordings, so that's just one person. They're not like listening to multiple recordings. And hopefully a couple of people have found it useful. But to go from 2,000 plus down to 227 is a bit of a... I mean, the weird thing is, I've only just looked at the stats now. I've not looked at the stats for probably a few days. I've not really taken much notice of the stats, because I knew it was going to go down, because it always does. It's weird though, because sometimes then it just shoots up and I get like 3,000-4,000 in a day. Is strange the way it goes. But I know that's part of the reason why I don't go too many days without making a recording, because it's almost like people just forget about me, or forget about the podcast rather. I'll start crying. Don't make me cry. You wouldn't like me when I cry. Yeah, so I mean, it's nearly the end of the day, really, isn't it? It's 10 to 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1. So there's 5 hours left of the stats, because it goes to 1 o'clock in the morning for some reason. So, I'll probably end up with maybe 700, 800. It's still just such a small amount. When you think about it, comparisons aren't always useful, are they? In 2021, 2022, 2021. Yeah, it was 2021. I think I had 1 month, or it might have been 2020. Maybe it was December. I had over 900,000 views in 1 month. It was just under 1 million. Let me see if I can find it. Seriously, you think I'm lying? I'm not lying. I'm not. I can find it for you. Let me have a look. So let's go for the dates. Oh, it's 5 years ago, isn't it? Oh no, it won't allow it. It will not allow it. It won't allow it. Why won't it allow it? Damn. Okay. Let me see if I can find it a different way. There's always different ways of finding stuff. No. How annoying. You're annoying. I wonder if there's stats for that. If I go back. Okay, there's another way of doing it. Let me have a look. December 2020. December 2000. Oh no, wait a minute. December 2020 to December 2020. Right, this doesn't seem to be working very well. December, so I'll go that there. December 2020. Okay. December 2020. So no, that was not the month. But it was a very, very busy month. It really was. But it was not the month at all that I'm thinking about. So maybe it was January 2021. Might have been. January 2021? No. Maybe it was 2022. Maybe it was December 2022. Maybe I'm just completely getting it all wrong. Maybe it's did I say maybe it's 2021 December? Yeah, that must be the one. That makes more sense actually. For some reason, that's the one. Wow, that was the biggest month I ever had, and I had just under. I've not got the exact number because it won't give it to me. 12th of December was the biggest day I had. I had something like over 70,000 listens or downloads on that day. And overall I had nearly 1 million downloads for the whole month of December 2021. And then it changed. It went a little bit, yeah, kind of. It's not that the bubble didn't burst, but the downloads pretty much halved. I think the most I got was about 30, maybe 35,000 in one day. And again, that was on the 12th? That was the 10th. I don't know what it is about the 10th and the 12th. So that went down to like half. And then in February 2022, again it's starting to go down. I had a couple of days that were above, like about 40,000, but it's a lot less. It was looking roughly about 600,000 on that month. And then March, it's going down. So looking at like 27,000 a day, 20,000, 17,000, things like that. So I ended up probably getting about, it's hard to work out, maybe 400,000 for the month. And then April 2022, it was, it went down even further then. So I was roughly probably getting about 15,000 a month, a day rather, 14,000, 11, 12, varying. So looking probably about 300, between 250 and 300,000 for the month. Then May 2022, it just shows you how different it is now. And it goes down again. I'm getting, it's not too bad. So roughly 11, 12, a few days, which were, so probably about 12,000, 10 to 12,000 a month, a day rather. So for a while, 10,000 was kind of the optimum amount that I would get in a day. I kind of got used to it. This is before I lost my podcast, by the way, because they had music and they took them off. I actually lost the podcast, I had to start again. And then we got June 2022. It's a lot less, about 200,000, maybe a lot less than that. So I'm getting probably roughly about 7,000 a day, sometimes a little bit more. But it's still, still a nice amount. And then July 2024. For some reason, the summer is quieter than the winter with podcasting. Well, for me, anyway. And probably because there's more to do. It's lighter. It's more daylight, more things to do than when it's, it's less rain and all. Maybe I don't know. I had some. This was an okay month, so I probably had about 200,000, possibly, and a few really good days where I had like maybe 13 to 15,000 a day, but a few other days where I was getting maybe 4,000. So back then, 4,000 was a really bad day. It was a really low day. Anything pretty much below 3,000 was I suppose really anything below 5,000 was classed as quite a bad day, really. Back then. Then you got August 2022. That was starting to get busier again, which is weird. So we're looking probably about 300,000. A few days when it was less than 4,000, but yeah, it's hard to. It might be less than 300,000. Again, I'm just guessing. I'm looking at the stats, but it's quite difficult from what I'm looking at. But it's like a guess, really, an educated guess. Then the next month, I can just see like from a pie chart, if that makes sense. So it's a lot less again in September 2022. And yeah, so it builds up near the end of the month. And then at some point, I don't know if it's October, things go poo-poo. Oh, not yet. So October, it's still okay. But, oh no. So October, that's when it went, when it went kind of wrong. I had to start, I think, over again. And because I was uploading so much stuff, I was getting a lot of downloads. Because I was uploading the whole lot again. But yeah, it wasn't. I was probably getting 100,000 probably in that month. And then November 2022, sort of it grew a little bit more. So the winter's always a bit busier. I mean, even if I look at the stats from last year, I'm pretty sure like November, December kind of time is generally a lot busier. So if I go November last year, no, not particularly. But actually the reason for that is because I was using SoundCloud for half the month. But the days when I was on using Spreaker, I was getting pretty good days. December. Right. Only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Only 12 days of December did I have my podcasts on here. But at the same time, the rest of the month I had it on SoundCloud. So that's not a good example of a day. Wonder why that was. Is that when they said we couldn't have music again? Was that another one of those situations? Because, yeah, I've had a few problems with that. January this year. Yeah, that was a bit better. It's weird, it's up and down, to be fair. It's up and down. I think the inconsistency when it came to losing the podcasts, and maybe some of the things that I do, you know, putting it onto SoundCloud, then it's back onto Spreaker. Although it doesn't really make a huge difference to the podcast, because it's still available on the same places, it's probably a little bit, you know, maybe it's not good. Hope writes, I hope your neighbours, how is your neighbour doing? So I'm just going to put love, because I've talked about it in this podcast. So Rick says, sending love and good vibes to your neighbour. How nice of you to support her. Just let you know, it's a man. I've not mentioned who it is, have I? It's a man. It doesn't make any difference, man or woman. I call him her, he. It makes no difference to me. Just let you know. So it's he's 78 in about, what's it now? He's 78 years old. It's Wednesday, so not next Wednesday, next Friday he will be 78 years old. Not this Friday coming. Wow. Can you believe, right? It's near the end of June. It's near the end of June. It's nearly the end of June. It's weird. I mean, the 1st of July is on Tuesday. I don't know. I don't know why am I surprised? This is just normal, isn't it? So I think I've read out these questions, these things. So thank you very much. If I haven't read them all out, I'm sorry. I'm just scrolling through. So my website is back. However, there's a bit of an issue because I did delete it. They've allowed for it to come back, but some of it is not how it should be. I haven't got time to work on it at the moment, but I will get it sorted. I promise I will. It's just going to take a little while. I don't have the time at the moment to work on the website, but as soon as I've got the time, I will make those fixes. I mean, at the moment, it's working fine generally. It's all the only playlists I've got are without music. I sorted that out so that it was obvious to see, but it's put it back to how it was before. So I'm not sure. I've not even had time to really properly examine the website to make sure that everything works, all the pages work, all the links work. I've not done any of that. I hope it does. However, if you do go to the website, there are, let me have a look. Right, on my website, from all the different podcasts that are on there, there's 6,600 episodes. Okay, so there's 64 podcasts, one video channel, 3 blog posts. I don't know what that is. I know what a blog post is, but I don't know what I've done. So 6,604. Oh, it's letting me click on that. I wonder what it's going to show me. Right, so that's the different podcasts. On the... let's have a look. I don't know how many there are. Wow, okay. So there's 100. So 100 times by 13, so 1,300 episodes. This does include the different, the ones with music, ones without music, 10 hours, 5 hours. But there's 1,300 recordings that you can actually scroll through on the very first page of the website. If you're willing to kind of go through it all, that is, because it'll take a while. But you can also search for stuff. So basically, if you go into the website, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 different boxes at the top: podcasts, playlists, podcast apps, and contact. Then you've got 2 boxes below that. One's for PayPal, the other one's join the Jason Newland's boring group on Facebook. And then below that is the latest recordings. So there's 6 versions of most recordings. If for some reason, sometimes I'll only do 2 recordings. So I did a Deep Sleep Whisper, and maybe it's because it was a Sunday and I was busy, but I just did 2 versions, one with music, one without. I think partly it was because it was such a low volume that it was just easier just to do one with music, one without, rather than editing it 5 and 10 hours, because I think it would have taken a while and I didn't really have the time to do it. But most of the recordings I do will still be 6 versions. So there's quite a few recordings. I don't know, in fact I don't know now, but I can tell you how far it goes back, because it's the podcasts on the first page are basically, wow. According to this, I've got 1,592 episodes on this podcast, which means, let's see if I can skip down to the end and tell you when the first one was, because it's not that far ago. It's not a long time ago. Long time ago, I can still remember when the music used to make me smile. Right, we're April. I do appreciate the nice comments that you've left. This is very, very, extremely pleasant of you. And what other things? I'm not sure if I'm up to date with SoundCloud. I might be a little bit behind on that one. So I'm now in February. I wonder how far back it goes. It's going to be last year, isn't it? When did I get this website? When did I start building this version? Was it last year? Oh yeah, I'm in December now. Last year, December. Oh man, it might be 2 years worth. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not sure. Probably not. Because this one because I had to start the podcast again. I think they got taken off because of the music. Then it got brought back on again. Or I deleted the podcast and I had to restart it. Something like that. I can't really remember exactly. At the moment, so the very first recording that I did on this podcast, which is my main podcast now, other than the Let Me Boy to Sleep, was so it was October the 8th 2024. That's when this podcast was created, but I've got recordings going back to 29th of July 2024. I can't even remember October last year, so I don't know how I ended up starting this new podcast or what happened to the old one. I really don't know. Oh well. So there's a few recordings there. I got another message. Okay, there's a few messages coming for the Q&A Friday. There's two. Right. I need to look at something here. That's weird. That shouldn't happen. No, I'm just looking at something I've just been... Optimized. Right. I think I've just sorted in an issue that I didn't know there was there. So there's been a message. It's basically, I'll read the message out again at the time, but there was a message about the podcast and adverts being played in the middle. There shouldn't be any adverts being played in the middle of any podcast ever, in my opinion, but especially not mine. But apparently there were, and I've just seen the problem, and I'm going to sort out that problem. I can see what it is. So I don't know why. I think it just, because I've started these new podcasts for like playlists, like 1 to 50 and 101 to 150 for 4 different podcasts. There's a standard, it automatically sets it to play adverts in the middle, and I did not set it for that. It's basically auto-optimize ads on this podcast, so get rid of it. That's weird. So there shouldn't ever be adverts. If there's ever an advert on YouTube, if there's any, I don't even have adverts on YouTube, but if there is, it's YouTube, it's not me. It's YouTube. Because they banned me. They banned me from playing adverts. because I think I annoyed them. I don't know. I'm guessing. I'm not quite sure what it was, but they said, no, you can't have adverts. So, yeah, well. Oh, well, never mind. So I will sort that out gradually over the next few days. But my plan, here's my plan, is to, if I go back to my website, I will, with the playlists, currently there's Let Me Bore You to Sleep, ASMR Deep Sleep Whisper Hypnosis, Relax and Sleep Hypnosis Daily, and Relaxation for Stress and Panic Attacks. So the Let Me Bore You to Sleep is broken into without music, or without music, with music, 5 hours without music, 5 hours with music, 10 hours without music, 10 hours with music. The only link that works, the image that works, is the one without music. And then I've got broken up into 50 categories of 50, 1 to 50, 51 to 100, 101 to 150, etc., all the way down to 1,351 to 1,400. But it goes down, they're all without music. It goes, the one that works, the latest one it actually clicks on is the 1,251 to 1,300. I'm still working on that one. So my plan over time is to have, with music, 5 hours, 10 hours, and have all of those available, but only the ones that I've already done, not going back and adding music to ones that I've done in the past that didn't have music on. So this will be pretty much for the last, it can only be ones where Spreaker has allowed music, but it's their music, so it won't be any of the old ones that had music that I used to use. The Kevin MacLeod music, can't use them, so Spreaker won't allow it. So I will try and update all the ones with music that I have, and then going forward, all the recordings, apart from the ones that I just do one without music, one with music, they'll all have the 6 different versions rather. I'm sending myself to sleep. It's incredible. Let's see if I've had any. Oh, my sister's birthday's coming up in July. Okay. Oh, I want to get rid of some of this junk mail. Ooh. Right, that's done. Oh yeah, so Vinny was waking me up 2:30 this morning. We go outside. I drop down the lead on the floor, pick it up. It's like Pamela Anderson breakdancing. I got distracted after that point. And out of the doorway comes this big figure, which was a little bit of a shock because I didn't expect anyone to come through the doorway. And it was the lad who lives over there, over the road. So I've lived here 10 years. He's now, I don't know, 21 or whatever. So he was a little kid when I first moved in. And he's a man. He's a grown man now. But he locked himself. Well, he didn't lock himself out. I think he lost the key, and his mum was away. So I tried to help him. I said, "Well, what's your options?" Because he was literally just waiting around. He didn't know what to do. And I said, "Well, what are your options?" I said, "Well," he said, "I can knock on the neighbour opposite. He's got a key, but he'll be asleep." I said, "Well, to wake him up then. He didn't want to wake him up. And I said, look, that's the whole point of having a key. It's for emergencies. It's, if you locked yourself out at 2 a.m, that's an emergency. And that's the whole point, really. That's my, it's an opinion, but, it's how I kind of see it. And so he knocked on the door. I knocked on the door. There was no answer. And we weren't going to not make a huge amount of noise because you don't want to startle the person, So it's kind of, okay, let's leave it. I took him upstairs, brought him upstairs here. And I said, well, I'll call the council to get the key, get the locksmith in. And then it turned out that it's not with the council, so they couldn't do that. And I said, well, you can stay here if you want. You can sit down and wait until a good time to knock on your neighbour's door when he's awake. So I think he's quite early. He gets up fairly early. And he didn't want to do that. I understand, to be fair, because he doesn't really know me very well. But the idea of leaving someone outside in the garden, and admittedly it wasn't cold out there, even at 2:30 or whatever time it wasn't cold, but there's going to come a time when it isn't warm, that when it gets, by like maybe 4, there's a certain time at night that it really can get chilly, especially July, August, but June, any time really. But it just happened to be a really, really light evening last night. So he just went back downstairs and went and sat in the garden, waited. And his mum was away or whatever, so he couldn't get hold of her. So I've not seen him to ask him if he's okay, but I think that's why Vinny was basically trying to get my attention, because he could probably hear him down there. But he didn't bark or anything. I'm not talking about the neighbour, I'm talking about him. He didn't bark, he just wanted my attention. But then I'm thinking, the fact that he's been left on his own for most of the day, and then when I am here, he's going out, he's still getting out. I'm still taking him out 3 times a day for his WALK. So he goes for one in the morning, then he goes for one when I get back, then he goes for another one later on. So he's had 3 today already. It probably, I might just take him in the garden for 5 minutes before I go to bed tonight, because it's 8:30 now. I do need to eat something, and then I'll be in bed by 10, hopefully. So I'll take him out go for do wee-wees in the garden. Yeah, that'll do. And then I'll get up. I'll wake up whatever time I'll wake up in the morning. I've got enough milk for my bready break in the morning. And then that's it. So what I need to do when I get home is order some food, get a delivery that tomorrow, and then just basics: milk, breakfast cereal, a few bits and bobs. Yeah, that'll be, I need to do that. Yeah, so tomorrow's kind of booked. Tomorrow's planned. And Friday, I just don't know, to be honest. I just don't know. I really don't know. I'm going to do a Q&A Friday. But other than that, I'm just see how things are tomorrow. Because there has been a little bit of a progression today since I left. He's been visited, and he's had some conversations with people about his situation. So I'll catch up with him tomorrow. and then just see what I was going to say, what perspires. I don't know, whatever the word is. So right now, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna have myself some crumpets, some toasted crumpets with margarine and a cup of tea. Oh, a nice cup of tea. And that's it, really. I might treat myself to a cornetto. Oh yeah, yum 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 yum. Ice cream. So, thank you for listening. Remember to be kind to yourself, because you do deserve to be happy. And be gentle with yourself. You deserve to feel safe. Lots of love. Bye.